Good evening. It is I, Roncar. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. Once again, I'm going to ask you on the theme which I am currently on, to know yourself, to know who you are, not only to know yourself as God and to know yourself as a powerful human being, but to know yourself as a human being who has certain faults, who has certain ideas, who has certain habits and certain ways of being. To know yourself in these ways, so that when you create difficulty for yourself, and usually you are the creator of difficulty, that of your difficulty, other people's difficulties don't matter to you. You, though, matter to yourself. And when you have created a difficulty for yourself by either through your actions or your ideas or your perceptions, that you have the power to overcome that difficulty because you know yourself well. It is an interesting pursuit of knowledge to learn about yourself, to learn your habits and realize what you are thinking is partially just a habit. You think the same things all the time. You may not recognize that, but you really do. You have the same reactions. And sometimes those are habitual habits, but sometimes they are new reactions and may even startle yourself. And then you're not sure what you should do or how to respond with a new reaction and a new way of being. And so what is it that you can do? Well, you can look into yourself and you can say, why am I thinking this? Or why am I doing this? Well, what purpose is it? Does it help me? Or does it make my life more complicated? Is it good for my relationships? Or does it complicate my relationships? All these things are things that are controlled by you out of habit, most of them. And so it's good to look into yourself and see how you habitually react in certain situations, so that if these situations cause you difficulty or make you unhappy, that you can change the way you react. And it is not easy to change the way you react. It is something you must practice over and over and over again. Sometimes there are little steps that you can take, and that is the way you mostly overcome the situations in your life and your habits. It is simply by saying, no, I will not do that. No, I will not think that. No, I will not react this way. I will find a better way, and begin to think about how you can react in these situations that cause you difficulty. You have the power to control your thoughts and your mind. You have the power to control your actions, much the same as you control your body. It is something that you learn slowly from your infancy on, how to control your body. And your mind habits, the habits of how you think, and the judgments that you make, most of those have been learned from your parents. And if you looked at your parents and you saw some of these problems and you wondered why they did not stop, why did they not change, you probably now understand it because it is difficult. But you have the power, you have the ability to change your habits. your habitual thoughts, your habitual reactions. And when you learn that, when you begin to use your power in those ways, you create for yourself a much happier life, one that is more peaceful and one that is happier. And then you can use those talents of your thoughts to attract to you the things you want to experience and do in your life, to attract good relationships. Have good relationships with family members. Collect new friends. Increase your prosperity. Increase your good health. And so these things are possible for you because you have all the power, all the wisdom. You have all the knowledge. You have all the understanding of God. You need only to access it and practice it to receive the benefits of being God. And so I am now ready for questions. Does anyone have a question for me?
I have a question related to what you said. So
Yeah.
about like trying to change the thought process and stuff, like I've been working hard on that, but I seem to be getting worse. But I'm realizing it's because of trauma. Because
Because
like
what?
because of trauma.
Uh,
So like I've been doing a lot of shadow work and a lot of journaling to figure out like where it stems from. Like just thinking there's like severe illness all the time, it's something small. And basically, like what I was getting from it is just like there was every type of cancer in my family, even like eye cancer, tongue cancer. And it was just like everyone who's died in my family had some sort of cancer or some kind of like something to do with cancer. So even my animals. So I just remember like in grammar school, like going to school, getting bullied through school. So I'd get bullied. I'd come home and my parents would be like, sit down, we need to talk to you. Like your cat died today of stomach cancer, or grandpa's in the hospital with colon cancer, or grandma has breast cancer, or cousin so and so had to get her eye taken out today from eye cancer, or your cat died from tongue cancer. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, so my whole life has been that way. And that I think, and my dad's very neurotic. Like, he'll call me. Did you ever get that pain over here? Yeah. Well, what do you think it is? You think it's something serious? And then he'll go to like 50 doctors. And then I the same way, because then he puts things in my head, and it's like I try to like take it out of my mind. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. But I think it's just from all like the traumatic events and everyone who died from cancer in my family is why I think the way that I think.
yes. Well, your father has been an example to you of how you should behave, which is always to expect some illness to be coming about, possibly a cancer. And you certainly saw a lot of family members and other people, including your pets, die of cancer. And so you have a heightened awareness and suspicion of it. One of the things to understand is that you are still young. And most of these people that you are talking about were older than you are now, were they not?
My mom's cousin was 6 when she had eye cancer.
Did she die of it?
She died eventually because as she got older, then it went into her breast, went into her stomach, and then it went
It
into bone.
metastasized, yes, I understand. But other than that one, then most of the other family members or people who died were older than yourself. And you've certainly passed the 6-year mark, and whatever age that your cousin died of cancer. And so you can partially use that as an excuse to allay your suspicions of that this pain or this ache is possibly cancer. Most of the time, the reason that people die of cancer is because they don't know that they have it, because they are not hurting, they are not in pain, and the cancer has a chance to grow and spread before they even know about it. And while this is probably not comforting knowledge for yourself, because you have been taught through the words of your parents and the actions of your father to be always worried about cancer showing up in yourself. And so it will take a massive effort on your part to overcome the thought. But it only takes 1 or 2 or 3 successes. You have spent some time investigating some what you consider to be strange sensations in some place. And the doctors tell you that you are fine. And so you stop going to doctors and not asking them about this particular set of symptoms that you perceive. And so you continue to say, no, I will not check this out with the doctor again. I have gone to 3 different doctors, and they all said the same thing. I am fine. And so I know I am fine, and I am healthy. And probably a minute later, you will have to go through the same dialogue again, because your mind is going to tell you that I need to check with another doctor. Maybe a different specialist will find what's wrong with me when there may be nothing wrong with you. And so you're going to have to say again, no, 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 I've already checked with 3 doctors. I am fine. I am not going to go again. And another doctor, you're thinking, well, maybe I should try this doctor. And you have to say again, no, I will not go to another doctor. And you have to fight with yourself. Just pretend your mind is telling you to go see another doctor, or that you may be sick, is a different person who is telling you that you have to go to the doctor, and you don't want to follow what this person says. Be adamant against this person. Do you understand? You have
Yeah.
to treat your own self as if you were a separate person and just say, no, I am not doing this. And continue to say, no, I am not doing this. I am not thinking this. And the first days are the hardest. But if you manage for a whole day to ignore your brain and your mind and what it is thinking about, give yourself a star on the chart, on the calendar. Give yourself a gold star and say, I did good today. And for each day that you do not respond to your suspicions of cancer or illness in yourself, give yourself a gold star. And when you get enough gold stars, with all the money you have saved by not going to the doctor, you can buy yourself something special. So give it a try. You just have to keep fighting. And yes, because you know what we have told you and we tell everyone. What it is you think about is what you create in your life. Your mind is very powerful. And if you continue to let it bring up the subject that you are sick, you will certainly become sick and you will develop the cancer that you dread, and you will not be able to put it. It will avoid all your attempts and the doctor's attempts to eradicate it, and you will make your transition. And so it is your choice. If you wish to die of cancer, allow yourself to keep thinking that I am sick, that maybe I have cancer, because eventually it will manifest in your body. So if you can get a hold of and in control of your mind, you will eradicate that person out, that part of your problems. So when you think that I have to go see another doctor, or this new thing that I'm experiencing, maybe this is cancer, say, no, I am healthy in all ways. I am only healthy. And try to make yourself stop thinking of the worst possibilities in that way.
Yeah, I asked my pendulum. It said that there's no cancer in my future at all for me. It says my death is going to be a sudden heart attack, but not until my late 70s. So I'm like, okay, so then why can't I get the cancer out of my head?
Plus, because you have been programmed to think of cancer in your family, and it is going to take work to get it out of your head. One day, being successful and not giving in to your fears is not going to cure you. It is going to take many days. And I am telling you this in this way so that you will realize it is the same thing as learning a new language. Having someone talk to you for, oh, we will say an hour in French is not going to make you fluent in French. You need to study and learn the vocabulary and things like this. And maybe 20 hours later, you will be able to have a conversation, maybe not. So you just need to know that it takes work. It isn't easy. It isn't like you exercise and your muscles firm up in a day. They do not. They always take longer. And so you have the patience in many ways to wait for things to get finished. And as a result, that is what you have to give to your fears of being ill and cancer. Have the patience to keep working at it. And that is the way you will get rid of it.
Okay, I'm gonna try hard.
Yes, that is all you can do. And you don't do it for me or anyone else. You do it for yourself. So you can stop going to doctors and stop fearing. When you tell yourself enough, I am healthy in every way, your mind will finally believe it. Stop giving you these symptoms and stop giving you these fears.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Does anyone else have a question?
I do.
Yes.
So everything that you described initially with our change of thinking, and then everything that you just described with the person you just talked to, um, is what I need also. I just need help changing my mindset to right now my heart is broken because this person that I loved is seeing somebody else. And so what I'm struggling with is jealousy and letting go of him. And all that goes on in my mind is him with somebody else. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at her. I'm just jealous. And I know jealous is poisonous.
I,
And
thank you. I understand your problem here. What you have to realize is that you have lost a dream,
yes.
and it is the same as losing him through death.
Mhm.
And so you have to allow yourself to mourn. It is not something that will go away tomorrow. There is not a single thought that you can say that will help you tomorrow or later today.
Mhm.
Because mourning is individual. Each person mourns in his own way. And maybe you will need to cry. Maybe that is the way you will mourn. In which case, put aside some time every day to cry,
Mhm.
but limit it. Say, I'm going to cry for 10 minutes or
Mhm.
15 minutes, or I am going to feel sad for 15 minutes and then I'm going to do something else. And do that every day until you no longer feel the need to do that.
Mhm.
That you will have accepted that this person is with someone else and probably will not come back to you because you probably are thinking that thought, well, maybe he'll come back to me, that he'll discover that she's not as good as me. And right? Yes,
Yeah.
that she is not as good as me and he'll come back to me. And
It's
you have to, because it is morning, you have to almost allow those thoughts and acknowledge, well, he may or may not come back to me. He may go to someone else, may not stay with her, but he may not come back to you. And so you can think about this on alternative situations. And it is almost easier if a person dies because you know that you have lost them forever until you pass over and transition and you meet again.
Mhm.
But in this situation, you do not know whether there is any potential or not. And you need to mourn and allow yourself to mourn just as you would as anybody who was close to you had died.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. I appreciate it.
Yes, don't hurry yourself. Just know that there will come a time when you feel better,
Mhm.
that you may meet somebody else. You
Mhm.
probably will meet someone else that you enjoy and that you like. Maybe not love, maybe not have the same feelings, but you'll have something. And then
Mhm.
even that can grow,
Right.
change, or someone else can come into your life. You have just opened yourself up to many possibilities and just mourn. I'm not going to tell you what other people will say. They will tell you, let it go.
Mhm.
Let it go. Not yet. And
No.
so when you have mourned enough, it will be gone without your even thinking about it. You'll find that it may be a month, 2 months, 3 months, but you'll finally get over it. And at least it will begin to lessen when it eventually lessens.
Mhm.
And then it will end.
Mhm. And I like, you know, I like what you said, and that's helpful. And also the mind shifter of, yes, this is a new opportunity for something else to may arise.
Yes.
And yes, to allow myself to feel sad because it's gonna I can't stop. I can't talk about it without crying. But right, just
okay
it's
to
okay.
cry.
What?
It's okay to cry, and everybody who was on with you in this evening will feel your pain and sympathize with you.
Mhm.
So if you start crying, that is fine.
Okay, thank you.
You are most welcome. I give you my blessings.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question?
Yes, Roncar, I do have a question.
Okay, Lydia.
I'm very worried about my older son. He, in 2 weeks, basically, gonna be a second time daddy, which everybody is very excited. But like about 1 month ago, he called me and he was venting. That's what he said. I'm just venting, but he was hysterically crying. He was in one point said, why so many times I screw up in my life? Do I have to kill myself? Oh, and me going through that way almost whole my life with bipolar and so many attempts, I froze. I froze and I was very, very upset. Today I talked to my younger son who mentioned he spoke with his brother and he asked me, Ma, what's going on with my brother? So he noticed something also. And I understand he has his own path. I understand I cannot help him because he's not opening and I'm not going to barge in. But like a mother, I have to say, I freak out today. I was crying for half hour and I panic, which I know I'm not supposed to do that. I supposed to just think positive and everything, but I lost it today. My emotion took over me, which right away I said, no, 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 everything is okay. But I was just crushed today.
Yes, I understand. And your fear is palpable in that you love your son and you want him to be well. How old is he?
32.
32?
Yes.
32. And I need to ask, what was the particular event that he was venting to you about that he did not handle properly?
He didn't tell me what happened. In the past, he got alcohol problem and marijuana problem, which he overcome. But this time, when he was venting, he said, how many times I have to make the same mistake? How many times? And I was crying when I was talking to him. And I said, honey, until you're gonna learn. And then he said in this moment, do I have to kill myself? I'm gonna kill myself because that not gonna go away. Which later he assured me he not gonna do it because he eats a chicken and he never gonna do that. He has 21-month daughter and I was just crying and I said, Robert, you cannot do that. You live with me all your life. You know this is not the way to overcome this. But and I really don't know what he screwed up. At
Yes,
this point, it doesn't. At this point, for me, it doesn't matter. But I'm just the mother. That's it. That's
yes,
it. What
I
I can say.
understand. Well, you would like to help your son, and it would be nice to be able to help your son. And that would probably help you a great deal if there was something you could do or say that could help him. If it is a drug problem, similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, there are groups that meet who have addiction problems to drugs. And do you know if he has tried that?
Yes, he tried that in the past.
And was it
And
successful?
then it was success. And then he said, I don't need that groups anymore.
Yes, that was his problem. You tell him, if you have the opportunity and it comes to you, suggest to him again that he goes join that group, because if he had stayed in the group, he probably would have been successful at remaining clean. It sounds to me that he has fallen off the wagon, so to speak, or it has gotten on the wagon. I don't know the expression, which is correct. That is perhaps gotten himself involved in drugs again. And you probably need to ask that question straight out if he is talking to you. Perhaps your younger son can ask his brother that for you, in which case you can tell the younger son that he should suggest that he goes back to his Narcotics Anonymous group that he was in before, and get that they can help him. And that if he stays there, he is less likely to have to fall back into the habit of marijuana and other drugs. And he will have to learn to stay away. The problem is that there is, what can I say? The lure of these drugs is that temporarily they make people forget their problem. And eventually becomes their biggest problem is that they want that feeling that they are free, that none of their problems have gone away. They just have another problem, a bigger problem, which is drugs. And so it is difficult, but you can make that suggestion. Now, what to do for yourself, you already know the answer, and you have told me the answers about thinking positive thoughts. You can also adopt some prayers and just say that, dear Lord, or God, however you wish to address him, that you, your son is ill and he needs help. And you know that God, who is a loving God, will help him. And you can keep saying this type of statement, that he is getting all the help that he needs. And if you have to cry, allow yourself to cry. You don't want to lose your son. You want him to be happy. And so you are allowed to feel sad at this time also. We are having difficulties with our consciousnesses right now. There must be something astrological going on.
Probably because the first time in such a long time, I feel today it's my fault because maybe he has bipolar like I have, and I gave him that, and that's why he's struggling.
Yes, but don't even think that anymore.
Yes, that's what I said. This is the first time in years when I thought, and it was just very low blow to myself, because I already know it's not that reason.
We do not understand the potentials within many people, even when there is a hereditary potential for these things, sometimes manifest and sometimes do not.
Exactly.
The things that turn on addiction in people depend upon the individual, and they are not the result that you have bipolar problems. He may or may not have inherited the gene that might help him or which might work to manifest bipolar problem within him. But it's up to him if he does the things that turn it on, so to speak. So he should have remained totally free and never had a problem. And it has nothing to do with you. You have to just keep that thought in mind the best that you can. Don't allow yourself to think that you are the cause, that he is controlling. You can blame it on you, but you are not the cause.
I know, Roncar, that was very, very stupid, actually. But I said what I said. It was just right away because I was crushed, and not maybe, but definitely, I'm very, very lately emotional. I find out my brother has a cancer. 2 people die very close to me. So for me, emotions is just like, besides the approaching full moon and everything, it was just a low blow today.
Yes. Well, perhaps, Lydia, you have a reason to mourn the same as Maria. And you have to realize that we have these periods in our life where sometimes many things seem to happen all at once. Like you said, you have lost 2 friends to transition. And while you believe that life continues and you know your friends are happy in their current life, you still have lost them.
Yes, exactly.
And so
Exactly.
you need to mourn also. And so give yourself the space to mourn, and you will soon be over it. I can tell because you are thinking the right kinds of thoughts. You know what you should be thinking. And so you will talk yourself into the right frame of mind that you need. And I am sure that by simply suggesting to your son that he get back into his Narcotics Anonymous group, or whatever the name of his group was, that he continue on with that, and he will not screw up his life if he continues with that long enough. He just did not stop. He stopped too early, and he needs to continue to be there, to have the strength of the group behind him to help him.
Yeah, I strongly believe also because he got overwhelmed. Like I said, in 2 weeks it's gonna be second baby arriving, which all of us, we cannot wait. But it's, if he basically, which my younger son told me today, the money, he blew the money away. So where he can blow the money away without saying anything, so that it's my suspicion, it's just he fall. But that's okay. Thank you so much, Roncar. The first
You
time
are most welcome.
Thank
You know what to do. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I know what to do. I'm on my straight way.
Yes, you'll do fine.
Thank-
And your son
Thank you.
will be fine also,
Thank you. Thank you so
because he
much.
called you rather than killing himself.
Yes. Yes, exactly. No matter what, he got his mommy.
Yes. Yes. And Karen, you have a question.
I was listening to Jim DiBiasio last week in his class, and he was talking about, well, someone asked whether souls retain their personalities after death. And it sounded like he was saying that they do for a while, and then they just morph into anonymous spirit matter.
Yes,
How? I
because
don't know quite how to understand that.
Well, I understand that it's difficult. When a person first transitions, they are very much attached to their physical bodies, their emotional bodies that are born with them, their intellectual bodies
Mhm.
that are with them their whole life on the earth. And that these bodies transition with them. So when they are first in spirit, they quickly recognize they do not have a physical body. But their emotional body and their intellectual body remain with them. And so they think of themselves as they were in their past life, whatever that last life was before transition.
Mhm.
And so their personalities are there. After a time, which is a ludicrous word to use in a space that has neither time nor space, but after a while, these bodies of emotion and intellect begin to disintegrate because spirit does not have these emotional bodies.
Mm.
Then the knowledge of who he was in other lifetimes becomes as present as the knowledge of his last lifetime or her last lifetime. And so they are now integrated into the whole of themselves with all their experiences of every life they have lived. They are become gradually more and more aware of their connection to other people in spirit, not the way we have connections. Well, similar to the way you have connections to family members and your best friend. You know you're connected with them. And that sense of connections grows tremendously until you realize that you are connected to everyone else in spirit. And that is a slowly dawning awareness. So you are not morphosizing into some blob. It's just that you begin to know yourself as spirit, not the limitation that you had when you first transitioned, because there was the limitation of your emotional and intellectual bodies that came with you. And now those have disappeared because you know yourself through the ages of your reincarnations with all the knowledge and everything that you learned in every incarnation. And then you begin to recognize your total connectedness to more and more spirits, other spirits. I mean, your guides will be there. From the last life, you will have, perhaps they will be your first connections that you will make to other people in spirit. But usually they show up earlier. But as that connection to other people in spirit continues to grow until you recognize that we are all one, We are all made up of the substance, of the energy of God's being, that we have been brought into manifestation on the spirit world through the creation of God. Does that make better sense to you?
Yes, thank you, Roncar.
You have another
I'm
question?
wondering also, I do, I'm wondering, say I call on my mother to communicate with me.
Mhm.
Let's say that since she died 20 years ago, that she's decided to reincarnate. Am I able to still communicate with her as she was my mother? Or
That's
should I
an
just not
interesting
think about it?
question. So you are currently in the habit of calling on your mother? Are you or are you not?
I reach out for the familiarity and in gratitude.
So you do have communication with her. So I've never been asked this question before, but I see the difficulty in understanding. If the soul who was your mother is now incarnated, in a space that has no time, in a place that has no time, you realize that it is impossible to say that 26 years from now, or she has died, that she has 26 years ago that she left this earthly plane in her last life, and that she has come into a new incarnation. And so somewhere she is an infant.
Mhm.
But that's in time. Outside of time, she is still your mother in the relationship that you knew her as, and she would remain available to you because she is truly not in time.
Mhm.
It allows her, if you wish to look at it this way, to be in two places at once.
Mhm.
One, she is in an earthly body that is part, she is in the earth, but you are still talking to her. And so she still is also in that timeless version of herself, which has somewhere in this process that we discussed in your last question, where the soul of your mother is now aware of herself as being in connection with everyone else. And so as she is in connection with everyone else, the whole of the spirits could easily be responding along with your mother in this strange dichotomy. It is much too difficult to explain. But you have to realize that she is in a place which has no time.
Mhm.
She does not, all that time in space, it just does not, she can look into it while she is in her place, as I can come visit it, as the medium acts as I speak through the medium. But I am not truly in time because I am not.
Can I add to that? Just, because I'm curious too, because you mentioned time. So
Yeah.
maybe in the 20 years that your mom passed, to us, it's 20 years, but to her, maybe she hasn't reincarnated yet because there's no time there. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah, I
Because I don't know
realize.
if there's a
Yeah,
time that, go ahead, I'm sorry. Because there might
No,
not be a
I do.
specific time that we reincarnate after we die. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry, go ahead.
And I'm wondering how that spirit is different from the soul. I don't quite understand that.
Oh,
No,
I know.
Roncar.
those two words are the same.
Okay.
Now, as you might say, a lady and a woman are the same.
Mhm.
They are the same. Some people, you will think of it as the soul. It is the animating force that exists within the body. That is the soul. And spirit is the animating force that brings life to the body. It is the same. It is just a different way of looking at it.
Mhm.
Is there another question?
When I pray, or when I think about unconditional love flowing through myself or other people, I feel like there's a stream of it that's always replenishable. And I'm curious as to whether it's all around us, whether it's when we direct it to somebody else. It seems our intention is helping to open up that other being to accept the beauty, the joy, the healing that unconditional love can bring. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. However, when you are sending unconditional love to someone, what you are doing in essence is wishing them well,
Yes.
that you want their life to be good for them,
Yes.
to get whatever it is they need out of life, whatever it is they are craving for within their lives, that you are hoping that they are well and happy.
Yes.
And that while you are sending that out, or that is in your thought, it is an energy then which is directed to and going directly to the person that you are thinking of when you are wishing them well. And so that stays with them. And as it is an energy, you might think of it as sending them warmth,
Mhm.
love in that way. You're sending something that, an energy that truly enters into their being. Now, it could be the light, whatever the energy level that is coming forward, whatever they need, it will probably manifest within them in some way, such as an enlightened thought. You sending them light, that is what they need. And so they have greater understanding of what's going on in their life, or understanding of life in general. You are sending them love, which is warming them and keeping them peaceful and feeling good. It is an energy, same as if you were sending them light and warmth. Energies are energies.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
you mentioned something like it opens them up. is what you like to think is happening.
Helps make them more receptive.
Well, remember that you don't want to, when you're sending unconditional love, you don't care how it blesses them. It doesn't make them more receptive because that's your wish for them and your judgment. But when you're sending love, you just hope for the best and whatever is they need, you send it unconditionally. And it is like anything else. If you are feeding a starving person, that energy distributes throughout the body and helps the areas that need it most.
Okay.
It does not, you do not specify, it does not matter. It just goes and it is absorbed. It is felt. They may not realize it, but you are sending it. And they may realize it and may wonder why they feel a little bit differently than they might have felt before, or how they received that understanding that their brain, having gotten your unconditional love, came up with a new idea, a new understanding, a new way of thinking, and they are feeling better.
Mhm.
So, yes,
Thank you. Thank
it
you,
does
Roncar.
help. And you know that to be true because you participate in healings and send healings to people. And so you know that it works. Are there other questions? Does anyone
Thank
else have another question?
And I have one,
Yes.
since we're talking about reincarnation. I came upon the discussion and like the view when, and I think it's probably a hat, but I would like to make sure when it's the opinion of the people and they actually trying to guide you what you're supposed to do, so you're not gonna be able anymore reincarnate on the earth because that is made by the church, or it's like you are slave to just coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So what to do to just stop that? Like I said, but I just would like to grasp anything. I'm such a searcher for the right, truthful answers. So that's why I'm asking how it's all this working.
When you decide to incarnate again, and as you have already iterated, that there are people to help you find the right situation to incarnate to bring about the knowledge and understanding that you want to have or result in the new incarnation, how to manifest and learn what you have decided you are learning.
Okay.
Many times it is a situation such as learning. You want to learn something. So here on earth, it is not always easy to learn something without going through difficulties. If your life was an easy situation where you had very loving parents and you were given everything that you needed to be self-confident, have all the confidence you needed to solve problems, there would still be problems for you to solve. Because that was possibly one of the reasons why you came. You might come into a life in which you are, where you don't have much food, or you are very poor. And that could be a problem, but yet you could be very happy in that life. And maybe that is something you want to realize and experience, the happiness that can come from poverty. Because happiness can come from poverty. If
Yeah.
you do not desire more, and you are happy with what you have, by definition, you have just said that you are happy. So there are different types of lessons to be learned in every incarnation. And sometimes a person chooses to incarnate for the purpose of being a leader, for the purpose of helping others through their words. And they may come back as a teacher, or they may come back as a doctor, or they may come back as a medical worker, someone who works just with people,
Mhm.
because this is the way in which they choose to serve. But every life has its challenges because there is interaction with other people and situations which you cannot control, but you can control your reactions to these situations by choosing to find the best viewpoint, the best way at looking at things that makes you feel contented or at peace, to know that you are doing the best that you can when you are trying to help others, and that it is truly not you who will help others, but perhaps you will be able to give something that will enable another to solve their own problems and take their own actions, which lead to a better life or a happier life, a good life. You are in that situation with your son. You have had your difficulties. You have learned from your difficulties. And you give your son good advice, the best that you can, but it is up to him to hear the answer that he needs to hear within his life. You cannot give him unless he takes it. It is up to him to accept what you offer, which is your wisdom and knowledge. And you have already done so. And now all you can do is pray and wish your son well. Send him unconditional love. Know that he is healing, that he will find the right answer. And you know that is what you have to do. You see, your life is not just a slavery. It is a choice of what you wish to experience, or what you wish to give, or that which you wish to learn in a life. And sometimes, because of past lives, when we were not as successful, maybe we have done very wrong things to other people. And so maybe we need the understanding how much it hurts when other people do bad things to you. And maybe that's why you're here.
Mm. Mm.
In which case, that learning, that knowledge, that understanding, which will come with you, as it always does when you transition, or it is part of your emotional and your intellectual bodies, that you bring it there and it is real, and you know it, you understand it in such a way that you are certain you will not make that same mistake of hurting someone else or doing harm to someone else in the next lifetime. When you make that choice, when you make the choice, and if you make the choice, for the choice is always yours. You do not have to reincarnate. You do not have to come again. But usually, since in this plane, it is where you have the power of creation. And the power to create is your most wonderful God-given gift. In spirit, you cannot create. You can observe, you can see. You'll be one with God, you'll be one with one another, but you cannot create. And so you may choose to incarnate again, or to experience the joy of creating. And you will successfully create a life in which you find peace and harmony, happiness, success, prosperity, and all the things you want in life. And you will be happy with that life. And maybe then you will come again.
The only quick one. I will only reincarnate on the Earth, or we reincarnate in the different planets and different galactics?
Well, you can, but it is the only reason you might not incarnate into a planet in a different galaxy is because none of the challenges that you experienced on Earth the challenges you experienced on Earth might not be a problem for you in that other galaxy. And so you might be dull and boring. Who knows?
Thank you so much, Roncar. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Are there any other questions? Well, it seems we have run out of questions for the evening, and we had an excellent discussion. And I hope you have all enjoyed the evening. And
Very much so.
I give you my blessings. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.
Hi, I'm back. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the evening. It seemed to me like it was a great evening. We had good questions, and that always makes for a great evening. Remember, I love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Okay.